Sezno. I guess this is a video about songwriting. I would like to explain in this video why, for me as a songwriter, the approach that makes the most sense is composing music first and lyrics second. This is a view that many people have espoused before me. And also, like, songs get written in a million different ways, and I don't claim to do them all. So what I'm saying here is definitely not applicable to everybody. But given the kind of song that I have learned to write over the years as like a guitar songwriter, as a bedroom pop in the DAW type songwriter, then I think what I am about to say is applicable. Your lyrics, in theory, are supposed to coherently communicate the subject matter of your song, except the sound with which the words are presented, so whether you're singing it, shouting it, rapping it, how it sounds should be equally successful as part of the music. It has to sound good. The objective, in one sense, is to create words that would still sound satisfying as music to somebody who doesn't understand the language that the song is in. This is the particular challenge that songwriting poses. And I think of it as more challenging than the sum of its parts, which I take to be writing poetry and composing music. The challenge of songwriting is that your lyrics and your music are supposed to work together. And this makes your lyrics have multiple functions. The lyrics must be coherent both as word and as music. It has to satisfy both the listener's brain and their ear. A general observation that I've made, one of the basic litmus tests and biases that people bring when they listen to a piece of music is they assess the vocals. They place a lot of importance on the vocals. Basically, how great are the words of the song delivered as music? I think this is a basic standard that people have. Every vocalist that a person hears is brought into comparison with some standard in the listener's mind. And the vocal often is the thing that makes or breaks a person's enjoyment of a song. This may only be for a certain generation, but do you remember that song For the Trap, where the rapper has this like really high-pitched, overly high-pitched, like mosquito type cadence? The song went viral and a lot of different people filmed themselves reacting to it. And those reaction videos, I think, illustrate this point, because in every single reaction video, the person sits there, the song begins, and they listen calmly. They have no reason to be concerned in the first few seconds where it's just the beat that's playing. But it's when the comical vocal actually comes in that everybody breaks. That is the moment where everybody comes to a realization of what they're actually listening to. Basically, by that point, they've already passed their own judgment on the song, and the vocal was really the test of that. If a song's lyrics are presented off rhythm or out of tune, or they deviate in some other way from the norm, that is usually enough to make the average person not enjoy it as music. Though we do find musicians on the internet who put music out who, respectfully, don't seem to understand this. Simplest way I'd put it is a song in which the words don't cohere with the music tends to not sound like a song to people. Words don't become music just because they happen to be there. The words are supposed to decorate the musical space. They're actually supposed to contribute a fundamental piece of the music as a whole, maybe the most important part. You're supposed to be adding something that the music would be incomplete without. Like a rapper, for instance, is not just a person who writes words. It is a person who writes words and can perform them musically. It is a person who can hear and reproduce the musical pockets of their words and to compose those sounds into patterns. And our modern sense of a great MC comes from lyrics that command both. Lyrics that interest us musically, just with how they sound, but also communicate something striking as words. Now, again, this greatly depends on the genre and whatever definition you choose to impose on the word song. But for the kind of song that I write, which is gonna be familiar to a lot of you who watch these, the music is ultimately more important than the lyrics. I don't mean this in the sense that it's all about music and that the lyrics don't matter, period. It's rather that there is a general hierarchy of importance, and that when the two elements come into conflict with each other, it's usually the music that wins out over the lyrics. Lyric writing is hard because a phrase's musical logic and a phrase's verbal logic are not the same thing. So songwriters, myself included, have frequently run into the issue of we're working on a song and we know what sound we want for a specific moment in the song, but we struggle to find the word that logically fits and works as coherent language. Now, you do have bands like the Melvins who find an interesting solution to this problem by largely just singing in gibberish. But most of us don't do that, so that means that some kind of compromise has to be afforded. Do I use maybe not the best word for the sake of the sound? Or do I use a less ideal sound because I want to use a specific word? I personally have found more success with the former. I change the word if it sounds better. Ultimately, your words, as potent as they may be, when somebody is listening to your song, they're going to experience those words as music, as a constituent part of the music. And even the most moving written phrase would be meaningless if you weren't able to artfully fit it into the music of your song. If I'm writing a song and I know what melody I want, that gives me a clearer roadmap for writing lyrics. It makes it easier because it actually limits my options to the necessities of the tune that I've already written. And there are a ton of classic old songs where you find evidence of this kind of process and this sense of priorities in songwriting. Like, you know that anecdote about how Yesterday by the Beatles, the tune of that was originally part of a much more like lewd song called Scrambled Eggs, and they just changed the lyrics later, and the result is like, this is one of the most like heartbreaking songs of all time. Simply put, sometimes a song is meant to have words that are kind of just there because they fit the tune or they fit the rhythm. There are instances where it doesn't really matter if the line is kind of vague or the line doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you think about it. I know that I pick on Oasis excessively, but Don't Look Back in Anger, yeah, lyrically, that song brings in a girl named Sally in the chorus for absolutely no reason whatsoever besides the fact that it sounds good. Like, the lyrics are too brief and veiled to tell a coherent story, but that ends up being a good thing because that means we can all interpret the lyrics differently. It's not meant to give us all the answers. It's not meant to even be thought about this hard. It's just meant to like ring out and sound good. The focus here is on the overarching coherence of it as music. Within reason, it doesn't really matter when you have a line that is successful in its musical meaning, which absolutely counts for something. I mean, music and sound have their own intuitive rules that can't be easily explained. But generally speaking, I think a song with poor lyrics within good music tends to be better than the opposite, than a song with great words in poor music. I'll probably end up making other videos talking about different facets of this, but that's the gist of my idea here. Again, I am not at all saying that lyrics are unimportant, but in terms of a hierarchy of construction, this is the mentality that has aided me. Music and lyrics are both super important and they need to work together for the song to succeed as an idea. But when they come into conflict, the music takes precedence over the lyrics. Thanks for watching if you made it this far. Give me a follow on my socials. Check out my other videos, check out my merch store, and check out my EP as well. Much love to you all. Stay safe.